inequality and exclusion calls for learning and research that is more accessible and makes a difference in our world. And so I would like to approach each of these challenges from the perspective of our RSHM charism, mission, and educational tradition, and ask what particular legacy do we bring to this collaborative mission, what roots can nurture our efforts, and what wings can carry LMU into the future. And I invite you to do most of the thinking on that. But I will suggest a few questions. Transcending the boundary of superficiality. Father Nicolas speaks very much of the globalization of superficiality. As he highlighted in his presentation in Mexico, the globalization of superficiality challenges Jesuit and Jesuit co-sponsored institutions of higher education to, and I quote, promote in creative new ways the depth of thought and imagination that are distinguishing marks of the Ignatian tradition, producing whole persons of solidarity. This imagination grasps reality. It involves a profound engagement with the real. What does that really mean for us as RSHM? Certainly it means, as you express so well in the LMU mission statement, the education of the whole person. It involves information, professional development, but also social, psychological, moral, religious, and spiritual growth. Formation, character, values, meaning, purpose. And transformation, working for transformative social change. And so, as we have seen, the Marymount educational tradition has always stressed an integrated perspective and a purposeful integration of arts, culture, languages with other disciplines. Because of this, an interdisciplinary approach has always been deeply valued, with the goal of integrating heart and spirit, mind and imagination. But I think we might ask, how can interdisciplinarity be a rich resource enabling learning communities to grapple with complex problems of our times, ranging from, and some of the ones that affect the countries where I am now in Africa, climate change, environmental justice, HIV and AIDS, the ethics of nanotechnology. Certainly, one of the ways we're helped to see from the underside is through experience and through community service. And I have been moved by the service program that you have here at LMU and the way in which young people's commitment to service has been a source of transformation in their own lives and an enrichment to the university. And I make particular mention of the two service groups. And certainly we met some of them this evening. The Griffin Circle and the Crimson Circle. And the outreach to the needy here in Los Angeles, which has touched me through the ongoing commitment and engagement that they offer. Our experience, though, in the local embraces the global to the extent that we choose to build on and develop and deepen our engagement with other cultures, other countries, other nations, and build bridges of solidarity. And I think creativity and critical analysis are really urgently needed. We, in today's world, are closely interconnected with people living in poverty around the globe, even when we visit the supermarket and choose to buy or not to buy certain products. And so I might raise the question, to what extent do we invite students to approach these choices from deeper values? To what extent does the engagement with the real take us into the risky places of controversy? Controversy, is that how you say it? Controversy. About the effects of globalization on African markets and the documentaries which expose it. And I just make mention of one particular film that some of you may have seen, Darwin's Nightmare. It's a case in point. It explores the link between the introduction of the Nile perch in Lake Victoria in Africa and the far-reaching consequences that brought fish fillets to the tables of Europe, while profoundly affecting the local community, the local economy, fueling the arms trade, war in the Great Lakes region, and the spread of AIDS in Africa. Very controversial film. But to what extent, we might ask, is the issue of ethical investment not just part of a syllabus and ethical consumerism, not just part of a syllabus, but truly practice consumer choices? How can shareholder advocacy be strengthened and faith-based values critically inform and transform the investment choices of LMU, its faculty, staff, and students? Perhaps we could dream a little to see how that profound engagement with the real could be carried forward in some other areas. And I'm still talking about globalization of superficiality as a boundary. I suggest another area that we might mention is through the lens of gender. And I think it's one of the key areas where RSHM charism and educational tradition both invites and calls us for transformation, to work towards this globalization of solidarity and hope. Giving voice to women and supporting the voice of women globally. LMU has come a long way from the days of merger, when in 1973. I think at this point, women's voices in many countries of our world, though, remain muted, often silenced by culture, tradition, and the hierarchical hegemony of power, sometimes tragically in the name of religion. Seeing through the lens of gender means seeing from the underside. It means hearing the silenced voices of women. And as RSHM, we are challenged to use our voice to give a voice to women globally, and our resources to empower women. We do that through education, formal and informal. Here you have a picture of Sister Rita Pessoa, who just 2 months ago won an Opus Prize right here on the campus, and we'll recognize her, for the project Association of Small Rural Producers of Jacaré in Brazil. I commend you for your Women's Studies program that aims to engage students in critical understanding as to how gender shapes the world around them, develops analytical thinking skills and conceptual tools for social change, and promotes a strong commitment to social justice. To do this is truly to link faith and justice. I think your course offerings certainly broaden the scope beyond the purely local context as you look at gender issues. But are there other additional ways? Does addressing this frontier challenge call us to something more? What about the global partnerships and networks that can help us to do this better? As RSHM, we try to use our global voice this last year a little bit as an NGO, non-government organization at the United Nations, collaborating with other congregations and other local NGOs in Zambia to bring the experience and voice of women in Zambia to the shadow or parallel report to the CEDAW conference that was held in July. It was a review of Zambia's performance. And the points of concern and case studies that were shared related to gender-based violence and human trafficking. 3 women from Zambia actually presented the parallel report in New York in July. Their voice was heard with interest and concern, and amazement, for example, that such a thing as child-headed households is common in Zambia. Their voice was heard, and certainly It offered an alternative to the official government report on how the country had addressed the issues raised 4 years previously. And so we might ask, in fidelity to our heritage, are we using our means to advocate to be an effective chord in the global voice, giving adequate voice to women at a global level? How can learning communities participate in the processes that promote human dignity and gender equality and hold governments accountable for global commitments?